Greetings, and welcome to the Modern Alchemist Channel. I'm Aubrey Forrest, the Modern Alchemist, and this is Ask an Alchemist. Today on Ask an Alchemist, we have a question from Hilda, who writes and asks, Good day, Aubrey. I have recently joined your Patreon channel as a Rubedo member. I'm overwhelmed by the magnitude of all the information on various esoteric topics you have made available. So what I want to ask is if you could please indicate where one would start if one were to systematically work through everything and to make sure that one has the core concepts under the belt. Kind regards, Hilda. All right, Hilda, this is a great question, and it's actually something that I've been working on as I've been working through the Patreon system and trying to restructure the material in such a way so that it is easy and accessible to allow everyone to go to their own pace and structure things to their interests, which is something that I have found as an educator seems to be more successful than, some kind of textbook method where we're just sort of grinding through one after another. My experience has been over the course of a few decades of teaching this that you can really start someone's fire and get them going if you let them follow what interests them, because sure enough, that interest will turn back around and it will force them to learn other things that they may not have necessarily been interested in at the beginning, but now because knowing what they want to know, they need to know something else first. That really helps, and that's the method that I've employed here, and one that I think that works best with the Patreon. So let's take a look at the Patreon homepage, and then I am going to provide some guidance through the navigation system first, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're doing. You're new, and there are lots of new patrons here. And even some of the old seasoned guys who've been here with me for a couple years might find that some of this is useful. So let's begin. First off, when we open up our Patreon page, if you just go to patreon.com home, this is what you see. And this is not really helpful. This isn't going to help you navigate anything. But if this is where your page opens, then what I would suggest is first you go up here to your icon that has your name, and you go ahead and click on it. And this will show you who you are a patron to. And all you have to do then is click on that icon, the Modern Alchemist Channel icon, and this brings you to the page that I would recommend if you haven't already bookmarked. This is the one to bookmark. This is the patreon.com/the Modern Alchemist Channel and posts/posts, although you don't really have to put posts in, it defaults to this. So this is the patreon.com/the Modern Alchemist Channel, and this is what you see when you pull this up. So immediately, it shows you the posts. It shows you a series of tabs in boxes, and if it were my preference, I would have a whole page of this. I think that this is easier to see, easier to read, and it's visually attractive. Unfortunately, you only get 5 of these, and I don't get to pick, really, which one of these 5 show up. It just seems that it picks what it picks. It makes no sense to me. It is what it is. So there are 4 methods, or 5 really, that you can use to hunt down material that will help you in your journey through this. The first is the media type. This is the least useful tab. You click on that and it shows you filter by media type, video, image, and audio. I don't make any audio, just strictly audio without any kind of visual imagery. The videos are videos, and the images are deceptive because I like to put a nice thematic image at the front of any post that I make. So as you scroll down, like this one here, Ask an Alchemist from Seed to Tree of Life, and I like to kind of put an image there to set the tone for how the article is going to go. So if you're looking under image type, it's deceptive. It's not going to really guide you. So ignore this one. This button doesn't even need to exist. The next one would be tier. And this is filtered by tier level so that you could basically, if you're a Rubedo member, then you just click on the Rubedo member. You'll notice that we have the old tier structure and we have the new tier structure. And that's because I dropped a lot of the prices down for the donations, for your contribution, your pledge. I reduced that, and I explained why I did that. Um, so you could do it this way. Again, this is not as helpful, but it will narrow some scope for you if that's what you want to do. You could go by month and then chronologically do it. I would recommend doing this over simply scrolling down to the bottom of the page where it says load more and then load more, because after a while it'll bog your computer down. I discovered this when I was reworking all the tabs to account for the new tier system, because I had to go through 300 plus videos and articles and posts to make sure that everyone would still get to read them, that they would open up. So that's part of what I did last month, actually. It was really labor intensive. Anyway, the next thing is you can go by month and see what we did. But this isn't going to, again, structure for you what you want to learn. It's just giving you chronology, and this is what we did. Some of you may have gone on vacation and you're like, well, I'd like to see what I missed last month. This happens. I have people do that, and then they binge watch through everything that they missed. So this brings us down to, and then there's, this brings us to the tab system. And you'll notice there is a search for posts. Like if you want to search and say every post that has WE in it for written edition, you can do that. You can also do it this way by going through the tab system and do looking for the different WEs. But we have Ask an Alchemist WE, we have Alchemy Journal WEs, we have Office Hours WEs. So if you want to see where all those came from, you just put WE in there, just like that, W period E period, and then it will pull up the massive amounts of written edition posts that exist there. And it's, unfortunately, when you do something like that, it's all of the written editions, so it may not necessarily have to do with what you're looking for, but maybe that's what you're interested in, is just having some time to read. So there you are. There's lots and lots and lots of stuff to read. Clear that for a moment, so it brings us back to the beginning. So that leaves us then with the tabs, and that's where we're going to talk right now, like how to get around all this with the tabs and which tabs are going to be the most effective, which ones are going to guide me in the direction that I want. Remember at the beginning of this, I said that I structured it in such a way so that you can pursue your interests, and I tried to create the tabbing system so that it would provoke your interest, make you curious, make you go, gee, I wonder what that's about, and then go click on it and then explore those articles. It's very much the way I ordered this is like a sandbox, the concept of a sandbox, where you can go through and play with it and do whatever you want with it. Many of the posts are created as standalone. But they fit together with other things. So and when you realize that everything I'm doing in my mind already fits together, then when I do a standalone and you see that that's there, you realize that that's not an island unto itself, but that there are associations and links to all of it. So one of the first things that you could do then, if you want to look at the core material and all of the things, to give you a really solid foundation, one of the first things I would recommend would be looking for the Essentials of Practical Alchemy courses, which are listed as EOPA and the year. So like this is Essentials of Practical Alchemy 2019. And when you get closer, when you get back beyond 2018, down here is 2018, when you work your way back, eventually you get to the Alchemy Archive, which is right here. Now I'll click on that. The Alchemy Archive is the 3 years that I was doing this before Patreon. And so we have 2017, we have 2016, we have 2015. And this will then take you to a playlist of all of the coursework that I covered at that time. And all of that is essentials of basic practical alchemy. And it covers a broad spectrum of topics from mythology, all of the occult, the esoteric, and understanding what all of that is about. You'll definitely notice that the video quality and production, by the way, for the older ones, I've come a long way and I've got a lot of new video making materials, but the quality of that is not what it is today. So please forgive those videos. I was just starting, but it was important to me that while I was teaching those classes, that I was able to preserve those classes for everyone so that it wouldn't just get lost. It would be something that would be here and that we could enjoy and review and build upon as time progresses. So Essentials of Practical Alchemy is definitely a place to begin. Another place to begin would be Homework for the Serious Student of Alchemy. And so that should be under Alchemy Homework, which is here. So the homework section is what I like to consider my guest lecturer section. This is where I, pull in from other scientists, other authorities, where I can bring in the material and show you how all of this ties together, all of it together into a single remarkable holistic view of the universe at large, and to recognize that this perspective is what is essential in order to move forward in your pursuit of the esoteric. That when we recognize that each of these ideas, these concepts, nest together and provide for you a link so that this is real, right? And it reaches into other areas which are real, and it ties them all together. So that's what the homework section is about. I definitely would recommend going through and reviewing all of that. The next thing that I would recommend studying, and perhaps I should have put this at the top of the list, but I wanted to go into a chronology of, they got the Essentials of Practical Alchemy and then the Alchemy Homework. Those two work together really well. The next thing would be to click on the Saturn Key link. There's 43 articles there so far, 43. That's a lot, and there's a lot more coming. This is everything to do with any time that anything I've discussed then relates back to the Saturn Key. And the Saturn Key is the core concept of gaining access to the Akashic record. It is the threshold through which your consciousness passes to allow you to see for yourself, to experience for yourself, to feel it, to understand it, to gain insights. That's what the Saturn Key is about. So I would then definitely hit everything to do with the Saturn Key. While we're here, we can look at Alchemy After Hours. This is a program that I created that allows me to discuss the heavier material, but in a more laid-back setting. Part of that is for me, so that I can relax and just tell you what I know. And part of that's for you so that you can relax and just absorb it, knowing that, this isn't going to be one of those I'm standing in front of a board things. I'm simply relating to you the concepts as I understand them and linking them to everything else. So Alchemy After Hours, to me, is one of the more valuable shows or series that you could participate in, that you could review, that you could watch. Because it's going to have tremendous insights for you. And almost every one of those are designed as standalone, so that it's us sitting together, in the last exit and communing and talking about what we've already talked about. A lot of times Alchemy After Hours is designed to build upon the ideas that I've already developed within Essentials of Practical Alchemy or other courses. Now, the next thing then is the Alchemy Lab. Alchemy Lab is where we break stuff down. This is more work. This is practical application stuff. We use the Kabbalion as, or have used in the past, the Kabbalion as a source material or bridge to give us the language which is useful in describing the universe around us as a series of 7 processes, which we've called, these are esoteric principles, and each principle then builds successively off of each other. So the alchemy lab is very, very important there because we take time to work our way through it. We also use the alchemy lab as a way to discuss more advanced materials, and there's definitely a lot of rubedo content in the alchemy lab stuff. So that should get you started. Like, I know there's so much, there is just so much, but that should really get you started in understanding the basics, like where we're going. There are just dozens and dozens of hours of video and dozens of articles, which then brings me actually to the next thing. The Ask an Alchemist stuff is also one of my favorite sections because this is generated in response to your questions, and a lot of the materials and videos that have been created have been the result, as I've mentioned in other videos. This is thanks to you asking a question that may not have occurred to me. It simply may not have struck me as, oh yeah, I should probably wonder about that. But you wonder about it, and then you ask me, and because I have the equipment, the esoteric tools necessary to move forward, I can provide an answer. So that's pretty much everything. Like, that's the core. All the rest of this, oh, I should probably, one last thing. God, there's so much. Concept Corner is another one of my favorite areas. It basically deals with certain essential esoteric concepts and breaks them down in short order. I have fun with these because they're fun to do. It's just basically essentially me taking a particular idea and reducing it into a way that it can be easily consumed or understood. There are some really, really, like this concept corner here, the Tria Prima, the Rose Cross, and the Four Worlds of Alchemy. Really good video. This one here as well, Mind, Body, and Spirit, the Language of Alchemy. Really good video. There are so many that are like that, and in this case, in these 2 concept corners, these were part 2 and 3 that followed an Ask an Alchemist regarding colors and the esoteric. So, and if you go into those, you'll see that I actually reference it there. So that's it. That's the basics. The rest of it is topical. So if you want to just look at the occult or mythology, if you want to look at things for self-help, that's in here too. It's a big deal to me. Self-help, understanding the self, is because the universe is within us. Understanding ourself is a component of understanding the universe. Hence, temet gnose. Know thyself. By knowing what makes you tick, because the universe is in you, you are part of it, you are inextricably tied to it, you can understand a little bit more about the universe too, and about things that occupy and inhabit the universe, because we are all products of the universe. So, that's it. That's how to get around the Modern Alchemist Channel on Patreon. And those are definitely the big topics that I would recommend, topic areas or tab areas that I would recommend looking at to get a really solid idea of what it is that is available here on the channel, what we're talking about, and what we're doing, what we're seeking to accomplish, which is basically a understanding of ourselves, of the universe, and how it all works together, and a better understanding of our ancestors, our collective ancestors, who put all of this material together for us to explore and to play with, to use, to have fun with, to be in awe of and find remarkable, and to embrace what it is to be us, to be human, to be here on the earth. That's what it's all about. That's it. That's what it's all about. Learning what that's about and coming to terms with it and having peace and peace of mind. All right. Thank you, Hilda, for the opportunity to answer this question. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everyone else, for being here with me on the Modern Alchemist channel. There is lots more material coming in the future. I'm super stoked. I'm really excited about everything that's available and going to come available and all the stuff that I'm developing right now. So thank you. And I'm Aubrey Forrest, the Modern Alchemist. This has been Ask an Alchemist on the Modern Alchemist channel, and I will be talking to you really soon.